My name is Lex, and today we are playing the biggest no-limit hold'em game going on here at the Hard Rock. It's a $10, $25, $50 mandatory straddle game. It's an uncapped buy-in. The pots get huge. I reach into my bag and pull out two $5,000 chocolate chips. I head up to the cage and exchange them for some black $100 chips, some green $25 chips, and some purple $500 chips. Head to the table and buy in for a little over $5,000. This table is stacked $10,000, $30,000, even $50,000 chip stacks. It's going to be a wild game, huge pots. Let's get started. In the second orbit of play, the under the gun player makes it $200. I'm in the $50 straddle with pocket jacks. It folds all the way over to me, and sometimes I could call here versus an under the gun open, but versus this particular player who is very loose aggressive, I think a 3-bet is just pretty mandatory with such a strong hand. I bump it up to $700. He has about a $50,000 stack, and he decides to call. So we're heads up here, pocket jacks going to a king 10-6 2-heart board. Not my favorite flop, but not the worst flop either. One overcard to my pair. I continue for around a $550 bet. He thinks for a little bit and folds, and we take down the first pot. My $5,000 buy-in is nothing compared to these stacks at the table. A lot of people have a ton of money, but I'd rather buy in for $5,000 with multiple bullets than buy in for $15,000 or $20,000 and just have one single bullet. Moving on here to the next hand, and it gets pretty crazy. The under the gun player double straddles to $100, and I look down at kings in early position. I raise to $350. Everybody else folds back over to the under the gun $100 straddle, and he makes the call. So we're heads up here in position with a premium hand and flop the nuts on king 7-9 rainbow. All right, that is what I'm talking about. A good flop for us. Actually, an excellent flop for us. He checks, and I bet out $350. With top set here, I think there is a lot of hands he can call me with. Straight draws, pairs, maybe even the last king. But calling is not what he wants to do. He decides to check raise me here to $1,200. Not many better feelings in poker when you flop the nuts in a massive game and get check raised. I do think it's possible he could be bluffing here sometimes. The hand that comes to mind would be Jack 10. That's a double gut shot. Any 8 or any queen could give him a straight if he's holding that hand. But I think a lot of the time here he's going to have a king, maybe 2 pair, possibly a set. With that being said, I do think there's merit to just raising all in here or maybe clicking it back to $2,600, but I would hate to do that and have him hero fold a 2 pair or folding out all of his bluffing hands. I think on this board, holding top set, the best option is to call, which is what I do. So $1,200 from each of us is now going in the middle. A massive pot brewing here, and the turn card is the 5 of clubs. The action's over on my opponent, and he decides to check. The only thing this 5 of clubs changes is that it brings in 6-8 for a straight, which was open-ended on the flop. If he has that hand, I guess we're just going to get stacked and have to rebuy, but once he checks, I feel obviously very good about my hand. Not going to be checking back top set here, so I throw out a $2,000 bet here on the turn.
2,000.
After this $2,000 bet, I have around $2,700 left in my stack. The action's back over on seat number 1. He looks over at me, looks at the board, looks over at my chips, and then decides to re-raise me all in. Nothing I can do here but call. I ask him once or twice, and he tells me one time, so we're playing over a $12,000 pot. A huge one here at 10, 25, 50 with top set of kings.
I have a set. Set.
Thanks. Pocket kings are good. The river was a sketchy one. The 6 of diamonds, any 8 will make a straight, but we end up taking down over a $12,000 pot here. The dealer collects my chips, and it ends up being a little over $4,700 here that we got it in on the turn. Obviously, this is great for a couple reasons. 1, we just won a massive pot, but 2, more importantly, we're only in the game for $5,000, and now we have over a $12,000 stack. When taking a shot at a bigger game, it's obviously a little bit stressful, so to be in the game for only one bullet, and now to have over $12,000 sitting in front of me, it definitely takes the pressure off a little bit. Let's say I get coolered and stacked for a $15,000 pot. Well, I'm only in the game for $5,000, so I really can't lose too much. This is basically the perfect scenario, taking down a massive pot within the first hour of the game. A few hands later, the same player from last hand opens it up to $200 from middle position. I have pocket eights in the cutoff. I don't really want to call here and go multi-way or get squeezed out, so I 3-bet to $600 back over to seat number 1, and he ends up making the call. Heads up to a queen 7-4 board. On this rainbow flop, I think I should have the best hand a decent amount of the time. He checks, I bet out $550, and he makes the call. Turn 10 of hearts, another overcard to my pair. When he checks, I'm just trying to get to showdown here, so I check back. River's a jack, an interesting one because ace-king is now the nuts, and I'm probably the only player who can have ace-king here since it's a 3-bet pot, and he didn't 4-bet me pre-flop. So I consider turning my hand into a bluff, but I decide to just check down to showdown, and pocket eights are good. We end up taking down another pot. Unfortunately, after this, I missed recording a $200 bomb pot where I had 2-pair versus a smaller 2-pair and ended up winning around a $4,000 pot. So everything is just going perfect so far in this session. I've been playing for 2 hours and now I'm sitting with over $14,000 in my stack. A pretty sick run so far. Unfortunately, I go pretty card dead over the next 2 hours, but the pots on this table are getting massive. I watch this hand where seat number 1 has a straight versus his opponent's set and ends up stacking him for almost a $50,000 pot. And just about a half an hour later, seat number 1 is all in again here on the river for over $20,000. His opponent goes into the tank for over 5 minutes and eventually puts in the call, and seat number 1 wins over a $100,000 pot. I've never seen a $100,000 pot in my life. Not sure if Hard Rock has ever had a pot this big, but one thing's for sure, this game is massive. I finally pick up a playable hand here on the button. Ace-10 offsuit, I raise it up to $150, and the straddler makes the call. We completely missed a flop and check back, and then fold to a $300 bet on the turn. I then take a short break to head home to let Rogue out. He's been inside for a couple hours, so I want to let him go outside and play. I head back to the table, and unfortunately for me, I haven't really won a hand for over 2 hours. I'm losing $85 every single orbit from the blinds, and then $200 every 30 minutes from the bomb pots. I'm now up stuck around $2,500. Seat number 1 now asks the table if we want to bump up the bomb pot to $300. So a new dealer comes in, we all put in $300 pre-flop. 8 players, that's $2,400 in the middle. I then go to check my cards to the camera, but the guy sitting next to me is a Euro reg, and he's trying to look at my screen while I look at the camera. I guess he's not too happy with me filming the game, he's just trying to be a dick, but I have permission to film here, I'm doing everything right. I guess some people are just haters. Either way, we have ace-king, and the flop comes out king-high, giving us top pair, top kicker. I bet out $1,000, and the big blind makes the call along with seat number 1. This pot got huge very quickly, over $5,000 in the middle, 3 ways now to the 5 of spades. I have top pair, top kicker, but this is a bomb pot. If this was a regular hand, I would always be value betting here, but in a bomb pot, anyone can have anything. Sometimes you have to tread a little bit lightly here. Someone could be pot controlling with a 2-pair hand that's beating me. I don't really want to put in a ton of money with just a single pair hand, so I check back the turn. The river card's another scary card, a 7. There's a bunch of 2 pairs that my opponents can have, so when it checks to me, I just check down my top pair, top kicker, and it's good. We end up taking down over a $5,000 bomb pot here. Winning huge pots is great, but what happens next, in my opinion, is even better. After this hand, a couple European players at the table who either don't like me, don't like the fact that I'm winning, or don't like the fact that I'm filming, or all the above, try to call the floor over and get me in trouble for secretly filming at the table. The floor then explains that I have permission to film here for a YouTube channel, and that I can film anytime, any day. It shuts them up fairly quickly, and in a last-ditch effort to try to get me in trouble, they turn over to seat number 1, who is the wealthy action player at the table, and they try to get him to turn on me by saying, "Are you okay with Lex filming you for a YouTube channel?" he tells them, look, he's been doing this for years. If you guys don't like it, you can leave. And that shut them up very quickly. Honestly, my favorite part of the day. Thankfully, the management handled the situation well, very professional as always, which is just one of the many reasons why I love to play here every single day at the Hard Rock. About a half an hour later, I peel back red aces on the button, raise to 150, and everybody folds. The action on the table slows down significantly when two players end up leaving and we end up getting one or two other players. This hand I have Queen 6 of Hearts. My image at the table is extremely tight. I really haven't got many hands to play with, and the hands that I have played have all been premiums. So I raise it up here in the cutoff, thinking I'll probably just get folds by all the blinds, but the straddler makes the call. Flop is ace high. I check this one back. Turn card's a 9, and the under the gun player checks over to me again. When he checks this turn, I don't expect him to have an ace very often. It is possible he could be double checking top pair, but I'm going to start a bluff now, betting the turn and then betting on the river depending on what comes out. I'm trying to represent hands like queens, kings, or jacks. Like I said, my image so far at the table is very tight. I've shown down some big premium hands and won basically every single pot I've played. I haven't been caught bluffing yet, so when the river card comes out a 3, and he checks over to me, I think a lot of the time he's going to have a 9x hand here. I could go for a big bet here on this river, but that wouldn't make too much sense. I'm trying to represent hands like jacks, queens, and kings that check back the flop, and then now it's going for thin value here on the turn. Targeting a 9x hand to fold, I bet out $250, and it works when he shows me the 9 of diamonds and folds, and we take this one down with queen high. I'm getting tired. The table action has slowed down. I have a $15,000 stack, up $10,000 on the day before this hand comes up, where there's a raise to 125, a 3-bet by the cutoff to $450, and I look down in the big blind at black pocket aces. Oh shit, this could get big. I have a $15,000 stack facing a $450 3-bet. Both of my opponents have over $20,000 in their stack. I'm not going to slow play this one. I 4-bet to $1,500 and they both fold, which honestly, I'm okay with. I want to call it a night. Let's book this win. Shortly after this, I end up racking up my chips and booking the biggest single day profit I've ever had here in Florida, cashing out for over $16,000. Well, I was not expecting that. My second biggest win ever, and then my biggest win in Florida, ended up cashing out for a profit of over $11,000. I was in the game for a little over 5K, just ran super good the entire night and cashed out a little bit more than 16,000. So I think that's the second biggest cash out I've ever had, the second biggest win, and the first biggest win here in Florida. I had a $15,000 win back in Dallas, Texas, when I bought into the game for $10,000, cashed out for $24,000. That was in February. Haven't had a big win like that since February. So to go in there today and win $11,000 is just much needed for the confidence level, for the bankroll, for just everything. To just take home $11,000 is just awesome playing poker. Everything just went my way today. I won with jacks, flopped a set with kings and got the full double up. One with pocket eights. I won 2 very big bomb pots. Aces didn't get cracked. Everything just went my way. I didn't lose any huge pots. I didn't get cooler, bad beat. I didn't punt off my stack. I just tried to play good, solid poker, and I ran really well. It's not, I didn't do something crazy today. I just ran very well in a big game, and things went my way, and I won a lot of money. So it's always great when that happens. It's always amazing. Poker is easy, as Wesley would say. Poker is easy when you win. Poker is easy when you flop sets. Poker is easy when you don't run bad. But it was a big game. It was a tough game. When you get to the highest limits in the room, this was the biggest no-limit game in the room, the best players tend to gravitate towards that game. So I was playing against all the best players in the room. For about 6 hours, I was the only American guy at the table. I might have been the youngest player at the table, probably the least experienced, and probably the poorest player at the table. So I'm going up against very tough players, experienced players, seasoned players, rich players. It's tough. It's daunting. It's tough to do, but I like to push myself. I like to make myself try to work to get better, try to learn from my mistakes, and playing big games kind of pushes yourself to get to that level. So I want to continue to play 10, 25, 50, not too much. I don't want to, overextend myself, but it was fun. I really like taking big shots at these games, and it turned out well. $11,000 worth of profit. I do want to shout out I do want to shout out everyone who commented on my last video, which was when I talked about the negativity, the haters, the mean, nasty comments that I receive sometimes. And I wasn't looking for sympathy. I wasn't looking for people to, ride me and just be like, oh, you're the best, you're whatever. But I do appreciate, I think I got over 900 comments in 24 hours of just people saying, hey, I like your videos. I enjoy what you're doing. Don't worry about those haters. And I do realize that a lot of the haters are the people that have a lot of time on their hands. They're trying to, just talk shit to get a reaction. And all of you guys who do watch the videos and enjoy the videos, you may not have time to comment. You have a wife and kids and work and things going on. So for you guys to take the time and comment down below positive things, it definitely means a lot. I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching my videos. Thank you for always showing up every single week. Thank you for liking, commenting, subscribing, all that stuff. I'm going to keep making poker videos just like this every single week. Until next time, I'll see you.